Hello and welcome to the JohnnyGetsCash YouTube channel, and to this, the 8th part of my Daihatsu Fourtrak restoration series. Last time, I chose to start with the worst part of the vehicle, the offside rear arch. I cut out loads of rotten metal and started to work out what needed to be fabricated and welded in. By the time I'd finished cutting out the bad bits, it's fair to say that there wasn't much left of the wheel arch, which is where you join me today. At this stage, the external face of the arch has been created and welded into place, but the profile of the arch itself hasn't been cut yet. The rear lower panel and quarter substructure, however, are complete. Right then guys, not a huge amount of footage because it's one of those jobs where I just wanted to get stuck in and get it done. But to give you a quick overview of where we're at right now, as you know, I started on the rear right corner of the truck because it was the absolute worst and it required the most fabrication. So I'm at the stage now where all the fabrication and welding is done. Obviously I need to pretty it up a little bit, but to give you a walk around of what's been done, initially you can see the outside edge of this arch has now been remade. Everything inside that was rotten has been cut out and replaced. So there's quite a lot of custom work here. Basically this is where the filler goes. All of this is new steel. It's all been cut, made into the various shapes it needs to be. I've done a couple of design amendments while I had the chance and this was all being replaced. I thought I would change a few things that I didn't like about the original. So as standard on Fourtrak, underneath this arch is a lip where it can catch quite a lot of mud and dirt and road salt. What I've actually done when I've remade this edge, you can see I've eliminated the lip by smoothing straight into the edge of this return. So that means there's no gap for dirt and mud and horrible things to hide in, and hopefully that'll help to prevent rust in the future. So completely custom fabricated. A few people asked in the comments if there were repair panels available. There are, but they're really, really expensive for what they are. So while I'm able to fabricate these sort of things, I tend to do that. And it also gives me a chance to do little design amendments like that deletion of that lip. So everything you see here was completely rotten. That's all been remade. The sill is yet to be done. So I've left the bottom edge open here. Obviously it's all tied in the inside arch there, but underneath is all open because when the sill gets remade, I'll tie that in neatly. To show you inside what it looks like, obviously you've seen the floor and the panels I changed there last time, but that arch is now tied into the bodywork. All of this is completely solid now. There's no chance of that wagging and rusting through again. The next stage is to completely cover everything in primer, then seam seal it, and then stone chip it. So it should give it loads and loads of protection. On top of that, when the stone chip is on there and it's thoroughly dried, I'll be injecting wax into the hidden areas, places like where this filler neck is. Although that's covered with a rubber boot, you'll never see it. This is all going to get injected with wax. That'll give everything a little bit of extra protection. So next job for me is to cover everything in primer, then go around and do some seam sealer. I should also mention the irony, all this custom work trying to make it look relatively smart, although I will be giving this a skim of filler and everything before it gets its chip and protection. It's all a little bit pointless because this overarch does actually cover all of the work. I will show you exactly how it looks. Once that's in position, it covers all of the fabrication that's been done there. But at least I'll know it's solid. It's not so much about it making it look pretty, it's just making it work right. What I'm going to do for all these fixings for the wide arch, I'm actually going to use riv nuts in the new steel. So any of these old rivets that are stuck in there, they'll get drilled out. Riv nuts will be fitted into the new steel. This will be fixed thoroughly using those riv nuts. And it should make for a really, really sturdy fit. But yeah, just so you know, although this is all custom, it will never get seen again, but it's nice to know it's solid, I suppose. So, right, next stage, let's get it all put into primer and seam sealer. Okay then, so that is the arch all put in its seam sealer underneath and on the inside, and a little skim of filler on the outside just to get rid of some of those welding waves. As mentioned before, you'll never ever see this again because it will be completely covered by the fat overarch, but it's nice to make it look as good as possible, I think. So this obviously still has to be sanded down, but when that is done, what's going to happen is up to the line where it's hidden, I'm going to stone chip just to give it that extra level of protection. It will of course be painted body colour when the rest of the truck gets done, but underneath this line where the body is hidden, it will be stone chip. The same goes for the arch itself. As you can see, we've got all the seam sealer on all the welds and anywhere that might hold a little bit of dirt, so just to give it a bit of protection, but this will be getting double chipped, I would have thought. Give it 2 coats of stone chip, maybe even 3, and when that is on there, that should be a coating for life. But anywhere internal, so sort of inside here and anywhere there's sort of injector points, what I'll do is I'll chip where I can get with an injector nozzle and spray everywhere else, and then once that is thoroughly dried, I will wax oil coat over the top of it. So I can't really do much more than that to protect it, but clearly this area of the truck is very vulnerable, evidently, from how rusty it was. So going belt and braces with the finish, I think, is the thing to do. Now, of course, this is only just this rear corner, so you may be thinking, you know, it's a bit of a nothing episode because you've seen a little bit of work in this corner and it's now partially finished, not completely finished. And of course, I've still got to do the sills, the other various little bits of rust around the truck here. But as mentioned earlier, I did start with the really, really bad part of this truck. My opinion is start with the worst and it can only get better. So next time you'll see me working on something else, probably those sills, to be honest. I've got a bit of a plan for those. So in the same way as I've modified the rear arches to, in my opinion, improve the previous design, I've got a plan for the sills that I'm going to hopefully implement and make these look good, but also be a lot stronger and better than they were from the factory. So if you've enjoyed this episode and you want to see that next one, make sure you're subscribed. Any questions, as always, please feel free to leave them in the comment section and I'll do my best to get back to all of you as soon as I can. Once again, thank you ever so much for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.